All right, it is 11, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody, to our South Carolina Standards Satchel introduction for CTE teachers and other stakeholders. My name is Dr. Herb Bocchino. I am the CTE Standards and Certifications Associate here at the South Carolina Department of Education and Office of Career Readiness. I mentioned this before, but if you're joining us after, the Q&A is enabled. So if you click on the toolbar that is in the Teams window, you'll see the Q&A. I've already posted some links in there for you. So today's slides are available in that Q&A, and the instructions that I'm going to reference from for how to access Satchel are also in there. Both of those resources are also available in the SCDE website. So everything that I am referencing is already posted and live on our website. So let's talk about Satchel. So right now, SCDE is transitioning from our website to host our course standards to Satchel, and this is available at the website standards.ed.sc.gov. So all those standards documents that we have that are all in Word or PDF files, those are going to be retired because everything is going to be available in Satchel for everybody to access. So Satchel is going forward the ultimate source of truth for all CTE standards. So all updates, all any new standards, any changes to existing standards, it is all going to be posted in Satchel. So why has SCDE decided to do this? Well, this is so we have one official source for all of our standards. It also provides us with faster search and navigation. You can actually get to your standards a lot easier than digging through our website. You're going to have access to always up-to-date information. So again, this is going to be the ultimate source of truth. So this is going to be the official standards for every single course. They're going to be in Satchel, and it is going to be updated as those standards change. It's also compatible with a lot of educational technology systems. So standards can be imported in other apps like PowerSchool. If your district does something like that, then all of our CTE standards can now be imported into PowerSchool for tracking in that manner. And there's other third-party educational technology systems that can use Satchel, and it makes it much easier for those systems to communicate with our standards. Satchel also makes it really, really easy to actually export your standards into several different usable formats. I'm going to show you today how you can print, how you can export your standards to a PDF, and how you can export it to a CSV spreadsheet format as well. So you can use your standards how you want. Just a real brief overview of how the standards are structured in Satchel. It's a hierarchical structure. So the standards are your broad learning expectations, and then below that are going to be your indicators. And then some of those indicators will have sub-indicators, and then there'll be even some sub-indicators below that as well in some of our standards. Every single level is coded. So there are codes that show the relationship between those standards, the indicators, and the sub-indicators. You can click in Satchel, and I'm going to show you this in just a few minutes, but there's going to be little arrows, and when there's indicators or sub-indicators below the standard, you can click on the little arrows and that's going to expand it so you can see all of that. So let's talk about how we find our course standards. So again, that website, standards.ed.sc.gov, that is where you go in order to access all of our CTE standards. Now, the academic standards are on there as well. So academic standards can be accessed in the same manner. I'm going to go ahead and switch from the presentation to this screen. So this is Satchel. And you can see here, we call these the frameworks. So the frameworks are basically where all of the course standards are located. So when you go to Satchel to access our CTE standards, you'd scroll down and here's where it says CTE standards. So every career cluster, all the modernized career clusters are represented here. So we've realigned all of our standards to go with those modernized career clusters. Before you can start searching for any standards or any courses, you do need to be in one of those frameworks for your career cluster that the course is located in. If you are not sure what career cluster the course standards you are looking for is in, then you can go to our course and program guide, which is available on the SCDE website in order to find that. That has been realigned to the new modernized career clusters as well. So I'll show you that real quick. Again, this is ed.sc.gov. This is our South Carolina Department of Education website. So when you go over to educators and then career and technical education, most of the information that you're going to need will be on the programs page. So if you click on that, at the very top of our programs page, you have our 26-27 course and program guide. So all of the courses, all of the programs are listed in there. So if you're not sure what cluster you're looking for, that's where you're going to go to find that information. So once you know what you're looking for, so for example, if I'm going to medical terminology, that's in our healthcare and human services cluster. So I would click on that cluster. There's two ways that you can find your standards. Most of the frameworks, it's going to be pretty simple to just scroll through and find the course. So if I'm looking for medical terminology, these are sorted by course code. So if you know the course code, great. If you don't, you just gotta scan and find, oh, there's medical terminology. The other thing I can do if you don't feel like scanning through is use my search box. So if I go up to my search box, I can type in medical terminology, hit enter, and then that's going to come up with the search results. Now you'll notice it's going to search all of the standards and all of the indicators as well that have that phrase medical terminology in it. So you can scroll through the search page using these arrows until you find the actual course. So the course is going to have a course code. So that's going to be a 4-digit number in front. That's how you know that's a course. So there's our medical terminology course, and it's going to highlight it right over here in the list so you can find that easily. So that's how we find our courses. Once we get into the course, in order to print your standards, you'll click on the course, and that's going to pull up this course card right here. So this is called the course card. From the course card, you'll notice there's a little printer icon. So you click on the little printer icon, and that's going to pull up a print preview. So this is what the standards document is going to look like. You'll notice the structure is going to be very similar to what you're used to looking at. So you have your standards. There's some of them have notes or supplemental information included. And then you have your indicators and your sub-indicators. And all of it will be already expanded when you click on that printer icon. So you can see this is all of the standards for medical terminology. A few things to note, you do want to make sure that the following fields are checked. You need to have the statement, you need to have the notes, and you need to have the supplemental information. The human readable code, that's optional. That's if you want to have those little codes. I recommend having that because if you need to communicate with us at the SCDE regarding any of these standards or indicators, it's much easier for us to find things when we have the code because every code is unique. So there is no other MT.1.1.A. So if we need to fix something on that, or if you have a concern or a question about it, it's going to make it much easier if you have that. Now, you might not want to have that if you're printing this out for your students. So you can feel free to uncheck that. You hit refresh preview and it's going to show your standards. And this is probably more how you're used to looking at it without those codes. But I highly recommend including that, again, because it's going to make communication much simpler when we're talking about the standards. Once you have the preview looking how you want, you click the print icon. And in Windows, select your printer, and then you hit print. This is the same exact procedure if you want to save this as a PDF. So if you want to save it as a PDF, in Windows, you can click Save as PDF. If you're in Chrome OS, you would have a printer that would say Save as PDF. If you're in a Macintosh, if you're in Mac OS, when you open up the print dialog, down at the bottom, there's going to be a little drop down that says PDF, and you click on that drop down, and there's a Save as PDF button. So this is how you would save the standards as a PDF as well. So you go to the printer icon on the course card, get the preview how you like it looking, and then click that print button. You can either print it or save it as a PDF through that process. There's another way that you can export your standards, and that is as a CSV or a spreadsheet file. So to do that, again, when you click on the course, you click the course card opens up, and you can click on this table view button. So the table view is going to pull up just a different view of the same exact standards. What you're going to want to do then is click Show Filters. And then on the left, make sure all of the item types are checked. Don't change any of these. You need to make sure all of those are checked for all of the standards. For the fields, again, you want to make sure you have the full statement, the notes, and the supplemental information checked. That is where all of our standards information is included in Satchel. So full statement, notes, supplemental information, make sure those are correct or are selected before you export. The human readable code, again, you can, I highly encourage you to include that, but it is something that you can not include, and it just wouldn't include the code on there. But I do highly recommend that you do include that. Everything else is optional. So if you want to include it in your export, you can. Basically, anything that you add is going to show up down here. And this is what it's going to look like when you export it and open it up in your spreadsheet program. So a CSV file you can open up in either Excel or Google Docs, Google Sheets, or if you have a Mac, if you're using Numbers, that would be another one. But any spreadsheet app can open up a CSV file. So again, once you get the table looking how you like, you click on Export and then Proceed, and it's going to download that CSV spreadsheet to your default download location. And then you would just open that up in your preferred spreadsheet app, and you'll be able to view the standards in that app. The CSV and opening up the standards in that format, I think, is going to be easier if you would like to copy and paste any of those standards and indicators into a different document, or like if you have like your daily lesson plans and you copy the standards into that. I think that's going to be easier for copying and pasting than a PDF. Sometimes PDFs can be wonky when you go to copy and paste from those. But that is essentially the standard satchel. Once you're done with exporting, then just click return to tree view, and that's going to take you back to the original view of the standards. If you just want to view the standards, so if I want to look at EMS 1, you can click on that. It's going to open up the standards, and then you can click on the little arrows, and that's going to expand those indicators. And then some of them, they have sub indicator, you'll see that little arrow again. You can click on that, and that'll open up the sub indicators. So you can view the standards in that way through the Satchel website as well. All of the information that I just showed you is available in those instructions that I posted in the Q&A. So those instructions, again, are available on our South Carolina Department of Education website. So if you'd like to access those, again, we're going to go to Educators and then Career and Technical Education. And then all the information for Satchel is located on our course standards page. So if you click under CTE programs and courses on the course standards, there's a link to Satchel, standards.ed.sc.gov. And then here is the instructions that I just showed you. So everything that I just went over is included in this instructions document. So, sorry, I had that open before, so that's why it went all the way down there. But all of this information is included there in detail for you so that you can easily access your standards in Satchel. So how to print, how to save it as a PDF, and also how to export to that CSV. All right. So in the slides, again, it's got a brief overview of everything I just showed you. There are links in those slides to those detailed instructions. And there's also a feedback form for our standards. So if you are going through your standards and you notice there's a typo or there's something that doesn't match what's supposed to be there, please notify us. So that's what that form is for. So if there's anything that needs to be corrected in Satchel, there is that form that you can fill out that will notify us to go in and make those corrections. All right. So if anyone has any questions, again, please post those in the Q&A. I have one question already. Is the new program guide replacing the student reporting procedures guide? The answer to that is yes and no. So the Student Reporting Procedures Guide used to be, is one gigantic 400-page document. And not 400 pages, but it's long. We've split it into 3 more modular documents. So the Student Reporting Procedures Guide will remain for Power School procedures. So all the Power School information will be in the Student Reporting Procedures Guide. That will be updated on our website as soon as Power School implements the changes that we have requested to the work-based learning and CTE compliance pages to update the new modernized career clusters. The courses and programs that used to be in the Student Reporting Procedures Guide are now in the Course and Program Guide. So they'll no longer be in the Student Reporting Procedures Guide. That'll again be just Power School. Courses and programs are going to be in the Course and Program Guide, and then the certifications are on the Tiered Certification Guide and the live list. All right. I will hang out here for another 10-ish minutes. If anybody has questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. But again, my name is Dr. Herb Bocino. If you need anything or have any questions regarding Satchel, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I can be reached at the following contact information. But again, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll stick around in the Q&A. And if you have any questions for me now, please put them in the Q&A. And thank you again.